The driver must give his muscles a chance to relax. The vehicle must be serviced and checked. The time card must be signed by a course official, and then back to the road. But even with all the care, it is frequently the insignificant things that can bring disaster to a man in this hostile country. Little things like a dropped canteen. At this point, the race looks like it will be dominated by the motorcycles, for they are far in advance of the cars. Then the cars do begin to come in. George Haddock and Jimmy Smith are followed by Vic Wilson and Ted Mangles. Crews and officials work to get them in and out in a hurry. With nightfall, the hardships just past are nothing compared to those still to come. At El Arco, the problem is just to find the checkpoint. Service and repairs are accomplished with the aid of flashlights and Coleman lanterns. The leading bike, now ridden by J.N. Roberts, is hopelessly lost in a thick ground fog somewhere to the south, as the leading car, driven by George Haddock, pulls into El Arco. They have been on the road for 12 hours and 39 minutes, with Vic Wilson breathing down their neck. Sunup at the finish line in La Paz. Alert officials have waited all night. Everything is ready. Ed Perlman, president of NORA, paces up and down, mentally urging the drivers toward the finish line. But there is only an empty road and an empty sky, except for one lonely buzzard looking for his breakfast. The racers are still spread out over the south end of Baja, California. And with 300 miles to go, Ack Miller reflects on the night just passed.
At this point, Brock and I have been driving for 24 hours with no rest. The night was the worst. When cactus by the side of the road starts to look like people, you know you're really tired. Even in daylight, things aren't much better because it seems as though nature has played a big joke on us. When the world was created, all the reject rocks must have been dumped right here on the south end of this course. Well, we made it into La Purisima, jumping from one rock to the next. So did Bill Stropp and Ray Harvey. There must have been 100 people turned out, which was all there was. Stropp was having a little trouble getting the hood closed, but they're really not supposed to fit anymore after the car has been upside down. We serviced our car while Stropp got ready to take off. Man, looks like he'll be ready for a bath when he gets to La Paz. Well, we get underway again. It's just a short distance now until we hit the start of the pavement, which pretty well goes into the finish. We've been sliding over rocks so long that we almost had to learn to drive all over again. This is where we made up some time, but this part of the road is probably as bad as any other part, because when you're tired and driving at high speed, anything can happen.
At the finish line, the crowd grows larger by the hour. Where are the racers? There's nothing anyone can do but wait. Suddenly, the waiting is over. It's Vic Wilson and Ted Mangles, and they've been on the road 27 hours and 38 minutes, and that is a new record by almost 3.5 hours. J.N. Roberts on the winning bike is so tired he has to be urged over the finish line. Right behind him is John Barnes. Roberts' only comment is,
unreal.
Now they begin to come in more frequently. Tiny Thompson and Les Chook could have won had they not stopped to give help to another competitor in trouble. George Haddock and Jimmy Smith are happy to just finish. They had electrical problems during the night and kept the car running with, of all things, flashlight batteries. Chuck Owen and Orrin Nordine are first in their class. They didn't need those roll bars, but you never know. Al Rogers on another bike. That miner's lamp on his helmet helped him through the long night. Dave Eakins barely makes it to the finish line. He couldn't have made another mile. Rodney Hall and Larry Miner crossed the finish line with a new record for four-wheel drive vehicles. John Thawley and Francisco Lanz Duray finish, but the long road to La Paz has taken its toll of them. They are both journalists. Maybe later on they will find words to describe their trip. For Ack Miller and Ray Brock, the long hours are over. They cross that wide spot on the road just outside La Paz, and the crowd welcomes two more to that growing list of successful Baja conquistadores. Tired, dirty, and happy, they finish. But others are still on the road to La Paz as the sun goes down. The contrast of blue water to the parched desert is hard to get used to. But after a night's sleep, the racers even begin to talk about next year. Cars with dust of 1,000 miles washed away are displayed in downtown La Paz to people who have had a hard time understanding why anyone would drive the length of Baja, California, just for the fun of it. Some of them are bent and battered, but they are all ready for the long trip home. Even Snoopy atop his Southwest Camel Porsche made it, not as a winner, but with a spirit of tenacity which kept many of them going long after they knew they could not win. It is time now to talk and relive some of the adventures of the road, to quench the thirst and sample the food of another country, to sit under palm trees that grow down to the sea. The victory banquet is held at the Los Cocos Hotel in La Paz. For Ed Perlman, a successful first race. For Vic Wilson, a winning achievement. And for all those others who won their class or just finished, something to remember all of their lives. And what about Ack Miller? Well, they gave him the bird. He did set a new record for passenger cars from Ensenada to La Paz. Someday, when a broad, modern highway runs the length of Baja, California, these men, these conquistadores, will be remembered with the same respect as those hardy pioneers who crossed the American plains more than 100 years ago.